Someone said to me recently, if I didn't love you, I'd hate you. I feel like that's a lot of my friends. If you didn't have a connection with me, you'd be like, this guy sucks. But I'm like, I'm way better than the guy I came from. You know what I mean? I'm progress. You may not see it.
I'm progress.
I'm an evolution.
His dad ruined lives. He just ruins pizza.
I ruin your meal.
You're listening to the Dear Buddies podcast.
You will grow from boys into men.
Whatever, dude.
What does that look? Don't get weird on me.
Hey, buddy.
For all those questions you can't bring yourself to ask your friends, ask your buddies.
Tell them about your pizza adventures together.
We'll talk about food, comida.
Welcome to the Dear Buddies podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a special, very fun episode today with a great guest. But before we get to our Pepto-Bismol friend here, please make sure you rate and review and subscribe for us on YouTube. Leave a comment on the videos. We put up a ton of videos, lots of shorts that we'd love to have you see. So check that out, Dear Buddies podcast on YouTube.
Nothing worse than the thought of you guys in shorts. Sorry.
I've never seen you in shorts. Spotify.
Can we get the guy's name first? So you're going at each other? Jesus.
I'm ripping in the intro, buddy.
Hold
Sorry.
on. Also, make sure you check us out. Patreon.com/Dear Buddies Podcast. We do bonus episodes every single week. No matter how little time we have to do it.
Isn't one of them number 18 on
13?
Number 13.
So the
13.
Wow.
The bonus we do now used to be our old podcast called Sweet Buddies, and it peaked at number 13 on the overall iTunes
Just
charts.
like Scopo peaked at 13.
He peaked in 13th grade.
Such a good one. Damn it. God, it was so good. Oh,
So that's been Dear Buddies. Thank you so much for listening. This has been a great episode. That's the only clip we need. So yeah, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Dear Buddies Podcast. With that being said, let's get into this episode. Very pumped to have a good friend of mine. These two hate him. Remember that from the,
Yeah, we did.
Remember that from the earlier intro that we had to redo. He's has a great podcast. Used to be on Fubo, now it's independent, called Cooligans.
That's right, baby.
He also has a great show on Complex, which is awesome, called Kicking It. Wait, is that about soccer?
That's,
anything I do that makes money is about soccer. Comedy is a hobby at this point.
If it's about comedy, it's called Kicking in the Balls.
Yeah.
Kicking It on Complex Media.
Yes.
Alex Guerreros, everybody. Give it up.
Okay,
Alex.
Alexis
I
Guerreros.
know, I'm trying to lead into the fucking...
Third one, everybody.
Alexis Guerreros. I've known you for years. Why did I call you Alex?
I don't
I think
know.
I was looking at him. And
I had
went,
no idea what
Alexis?
happened.
Yeah. Alexis Guerreros.
If you call me Alexis Pavone, I'd jump out of a window. If there was one in the studio.
There's one right there.
Windowless, we can't afford it.
Yeah.
We need more Patreons, so jump on so we can get a window
Come
here.
on.
Oh, I thought it was because if I had a bad set, I'm going right out.
Yeah. He's not allowed to sit near the window.
Yeah. Windows and guns can't have anything at all.
That's why you don't have any windows in your car either. Every set you've had.
That's two on me.
You're taking a beating so far. This is a lot of.
I'm having a great time. What are we, 2 minutes in? Oh,
I'm
my
happy to
God.
be here. Thanks for booking me after my non-comedian wife. This is great.
Well, we needed numbers, and she's the ones that provided.
No, she's got the
Yeah,
goods.
so our last episode, or I don't know if it's when in sequence it was, but the astrology episode.
It's gonna go
with Donna.
sequence.
That's his wife.
That's my wife.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She's your husband.
Yeah.
You're her husband.
Yes, I am her husband.
Alex Guerreros and
yeah. She's gonna be like, that's not my man.
For you watching at home, your eyes are not deceiving you. This is what he looks like. And that is what she looks
You're like,
like.
no, but that shouldn't be the. You know how they like get mad at sitcoms because they're like, why they put a fat greasy guy with a beautiful woman? Sometimes it happens in real life, folks.
Yeah, this is the real king of Queens right here.
100%. Sometimes you trap them early when you weigh 142
Except
pounds.
his job is not as good.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I worked for GPS.
Yeah, if he had benefits.
GPS, what was it?
Hey, buddy. Well, thanks for dressing like a gender reveal party and coming on this podcast. We really appreciate that.
I realized fashion wouldn't work in this room.
No, I like it. I do like it for sure.
I actually do enjoy it, but it's
Thank
also
you.
more fun to rip on you.
You gotta rip on it, and plus it brings more attention to it anyway.
You put that on definitely like, oh, they're going to talk about this.
100%.
Yeah.
So before we really get into it, I need to know the pronunciation of where you're from before you reach across the table and rip my
Well, why
jugular
don't you
out.
set up the episode and then we'll.
There is no setup for the episode. We have Alexis on the show because we love him. He's hilarious, and there's a lot to talk about it. So it's not generally one specific thing. But you are from, say it.
Right, you guys want to say?
Can I say it?
Yeah.
It's Newark.
No.
So You kind of not wrong, but you elongated it too much. If you're not from there, you say Newark.
Newark?
That's what you say if you're not from there. If you're from there, you say it as fast as possible. So you say Nork.
So that nobody knows you're from there?
Newark.
No, because that's how. See, like if you're listening to it, it's Nork is what essentially what you should be saying. But yes, but if you listen to it, you are saying Newark. You're just saying it real fast. Nork.
Yes.
Did you get taught this, or is this just how you spoke?
No, this is how everybody says it. It's like, why do they say schedule in England? I don't know. It's what my mama said. Everybody says Newark, They
say
no one in England has ever said.
I've never heard that from an Englishman.
Has ever said, that's what my mom said. Oh, they say mum, which is the
M-U-M,
worst.
mum.
The worst.
And you grew up in Nork.
Hey! That's extra credit for a Canadian.
Thank you. You grew up there, what, in the 90s?
Yeah. Like in a crack era.
Well, he's not that old.
No.
It seemed like it was the 84.
Well, I didn't know if it was like early 2000s. You look young. You got a youthful glow.
No, yeah. Let's just pretend I'm 22.
Every time you tell me stories, I feel like I'm talking to my grandfather.
You know what's funny?
Because you're like, I was 8. I was working at the factory packing the cigarettes. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? 1998?
I'm like, until the Dust Bowl. No, I told Robbie a story about faking my information so I can get a job at 11 years old at a factory. And he was like, what'd you do at the factory? I was like, the first day they had me helping the janitor, but I got fired and I begged for my job back, and then they let me make boxes. The flat shipping boxes come in flat and you fold them. I was like, I had paper cuts, and I lied to my family about getting the paper cuts at school. They thought I was getting abused at school. School thought I was getting abused at home because I didn't want anyone to know I had this job. And he was like, were you raised in the 40s? he's like, is Nork in a time warp?
That sounds like you were abused at school and at home. Like you were the breadwinner at 11. Like that is abuse.
Why didn't you want to tell your parents you had a job?
Because my mother was like very adamant about your job is school. She was like, I don't want you to live the way I live,
Okay.
But I was like, nah, I want to be able to buy clothes and food. I saved none of that money. I gave some to the house, and the rest went to Doritos. Doritos and Tommy Hilfiger.
Quarter waters?
Oh, dude, I used to bust quarter waters.
Quarter waters are the best.
Bro, you know what? That's like the first time, the people at a bar like, next round's on me. I got to do that at a bodega for quarter waters. I'm like, fellas, everybody put your chingling coins away.
Explain what quarter waters are.
You don't know what quarter waters are?
Buddy,
I didn't know what you were saying.
They look like they're plastic. They
Say
look
the word
like
again.
Quarter waters.
Quarter waters.
I haven't seen Scopo have that much fun.
Quarter water.
Quarter water.
Quarter
Okay.
water.
Quarter
Okay,
water.
got it.
Quarter water Newark.
I thought you were talking about Tommy
Quarter water
Hilfiger
Newark.
and you were talking about corduroys.
Buddy, the kid's got quarters. Next round of corduroys on me. I was like,
This guy's getting slacked for the whole room.
what do we want, trousers, fellas?
Newark is screwed. Yo, you remember corduroys in Boston?
Yeah.
Wait, but do you remember the 50 Cent song? He goes, I took a quarter water and sold it for vitamins, Powerade, whatever it was. Sold for vitamin water for $2. Quarter waters are.
It's a barrel. It's a plastic.
Filled with
container.
juice.
Yeah, filled with juice, and
It's water.
It's toxic juice.
It's foil. It's just sugar
It's
and
sugar
water
and
different
water.
colors.
Yeah.
Like Arizona iced tea almost?
No, it's straight up sugar water with dye in it. And
What was
people
your
are like,
color?
I like the white. You got
White? I got blue.
Red. Okay, blue is
was
crazy.
blue.
because
Good.
it dyed your mouth.
Yeah. Blue is good.
We just called them barrel. I think we just called them barrel drinks.
Yeah, they were like different names.
You know
for
what they
it
were?
regionally.
What they are? It's what they had in the
Quarter
freeze
waters.
pops, just melted.
That makes so much
Yeah,
sense.
Yeah,
true.
it's just like the summer version or like the winter version of that.
Which is true
Yeah, but you
because
go to
it's thick.
Yeah, it's
thick
disgusting.
You go to a
sugar
candy
water.
store after school and you get like a quarter. If you like 50 cents, you were balling.
Yeah,
You're balling 50
you bought
cents.
them for a quarter, so they were called
good.
quarter waters. It's like the way Air Max 97s in London, they call them 110s because that's how much they cost. Same thing, quarter waters.
Oh yeah, that relates.
Someone listening, whoever stuck around after you guys talked about English cocks, whoever stuck around and listened to the next episode just got that bit.
You gotta subscribe to the Patreon to know what he's talking about. That was a fun episode.
Oh, dude, your Patreon's a lot of fun. I made that up. I'm not paying. I'm not.
Edit!
Yeah. No, I waited too. I waited for y'all to be able to edit it.
So let's talk about Nork for a hot second.
Very
here
nice.
In the 90s. What the hell was that like? Because I've been in the Nork airport in the 2022s.
Yeah.
And it's not fun.
Yeah, it's,
so I can imagine, now Nork back in the day.
It's one of those things where like you hear people who grew up in like really bad neighborhoods say it, but it is true. Like you don't know the rest of the world doesn't live like this. Like the first time I met like a white girl, like a real white girl. She was this blonde girl from like
You
Parsippany.
married her.
I'm like, you mine, girl. You don't
You're going nowhere.
She read your tarot, and you go, mine.
Oh my god.
You want to know what else is rising besides my moon? Yeah.
Beef bayonet. Call back.
Beef bayonet. Hey, good bit. That was very good. I love that clip. You guys do a good job. Whatchamacallit? The first time I met like a white girl, I was like, I was like flirting with her at the mall, and then she was like, "What are you doing after this?" I'm like, "We're going home. Sun's about to go down. What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're about to take the bus home." I'm like, "What are you talking about, bus home?" And she was like, "My mom's picking us up." I'm like, "Your mom picks you up at the mall?" And she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go get ice cream." I'm like, "You're allowed to have ice cream at night?" I'm like, "Where are you gonna get it? You got it at home?" And she's like, "No, we're gonna go to the ice cream shop." And my mom, like, you would never do that in Newark. Like, once the sun went down, it was like, the people started hanging out in the corners. That was your time to go home, unless you were a corner boy, which I wasn't. So I was like, I just couldn't understand the life they lived. And then I remember I hung out with her and her friends, and they lived in a neighborhood that didn't have sidewalks. What? And I was as confused as I've ever been. It's
a development.
It's like a suburb. It's
grass
like
to the street.
Grass to the street. And I go,
Wait, I've never been around this.
bro, it blew my mind. I'm at the end of the driveway going, what if you got to go to the store? And then her mom's like, we drive. And I'm like, to the corner? And she's like, what corner? Because all their streets are like curved.
Yeah.
It's like one of these new developments, like where the lady from Weeds would have lived. It was like that.
So you essentially growing up in Newark, you grow up like a pygmy, where there was nothing, and anyone that came in, you tried to shoot them out of the neighborhood.
100%. Yeah. I don't know what pygmy means, but it sounds about right. I'm like, did he just call me a cop?
I'm sorry. Me pig. I'm telling myself that.
Wait a minute. So these are like rich areas in Newark.
No. This is outside.
Like
of
how
Newark,
far?
yeah.
It couldn't be that far. though.
Parsippany is about 30 minutes outside. But
Oh, okay.
if you're
So
in
it's pretty
in the mall, you're like equidistant to it. So like hanging out with her was like on the way back home.
Okay.
What were you doing at the mall?
That's where you went if you wanted to like hang out
Food
with your
court.
friends. That wasn't like I'm the king of Cinnabon. He's
Guy
like,
walks
"Look,
by,
he
I
work
got-
here.
I got
I'm
2
sitting
for
there, I'm putting the white screen on stuff.
Making the rounds,
Yeah, like, this guy
Taco
doesn't even have a job.
You're sitting on the counter.
Taco Bell. Hola, ¿cómo estamos? I speak Spanish at Taco Bell.
Everybody at Pizza Hut sees you. They're like, he's gonna fucking complain about the sauce again.
I'm eating the
throws
raw
across that
dough,
home.
and I'm like, you're still making this bullshit, huh? All right, guys. I'll see you next week.
Smelling the pepperoni. That ain't me.
That ain't pig.
What do you guys using, picnic? It's real trash. Gotta be honest with you. I expect the same out of you. But yeah, it was like you went to the mall, like, and nobody liked us at the mall, and I didn't realize this. Like,
Shocker.
yeah, there was
Nobody liked a gang of
Bro,
kids from Newark
who
who have never not seen a sidewalk. They don't want them at their shopping destination.
Wait, but did you roll
Blowing my mind right
deep
now.
to the mall?
because you went like 17 people.
Queen Center Mall, you couldn't have over 10 kids or 8 kids, something like that, because they
wouldn't allow you in, right?
It wasn't allow you in. You considered a gang, yeah.
It's just
You'd roll up with like 12,
This was
13
pre-COVID days.
this is
12, 13 kids, you'd roll up, and then security guards would
You
come
gotta
over.
go in a different entrance.
They go,
We'll
yo,
meet
you can't.
we'll
You
meet
guys
at
all
the Foot
can't.
Locker.
He goes, you all can't conjugate together.
Yeah.
They all say,
Conjugate.
you all can't. You have to separate.
Bro, we were just like wearing like the baggiest clothes, listening to music loud. We had no, you know how you guys say like Alexis is loud. I'm normal voice for everyone I know. So imagine that like in a peaceful mall. We all went to the white malls because they had like nice clothes.
Well, that's where the security's lower. And you can steal more.
Yeah, it's 100%.
I'm just saying you grew up a criminal.
Yeah. No, 100%. By the way, you know this because you're from Queens. You steal certain things and you're like, well, I'm not stealing. It's like a little thing. Like you steal a candy bar, so I'm like, I'm not really stealing. I'm not robbing the store.
It's especially if it's a big place.
Yeah.
Overhead. They go.
You say shit like that's why the bananas are so expensive. It's because they know we're gonna steal some.
How about that? Never once stole banana in his life. Never once.
No. That's what I'm saying is I'm putting Doritos in my bag.
Guard the expensive bananas. Oh, it's Alexis. Leave him alone.
Do you ever go to the candy store in the malls and they have the bins where you can open it up and it's
And
just
take
like
your own?
yeah, it's like you're inviting me to steal.
This is your fault.
Yeah. This is on you guys to have the bag.
Biggest thing you've stolen where you were like, now this is theft.
A necklace.
Okay. That's where you were like, I'm now
Once
a
I
criminal.
took jewelry, I was like,
okay,
this is like you get arrested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ask Dee's family. It's D.
Actually, it's her heart.
The necklace is for her, so it's a wash. I
did pay off the engagement ring by faking a bunch of stuff in my trunk when my car got stolen.
What was that?
Wait,
now?
what?
I pretended
Oh,
a bunch
my
of
dad's
stuff
done
was in
that
my
so many
yeah,
times.
dude. My car got stolen 3 times when I lived in Newark. The third time was the one with like the bullet holes coming out of the trunk. I tell that story on stage sometimes. When I called the insurance, I was like, oh yeah, and in the trunk, what? By the way, allegedly.
Well, you gotta fabricate a little more. You got a couple pairs of shoes in there.
I mean, let's just say that whatever my job was, I needed 4 laptops.
That's why I got stolen, officer.
You never fucking scam the insurance companies? You guys are weirdos.
That's what I'm talking about. People from around us are like, dude, we get
my
it.
dad got me in. My dad, we went on a baseball trip once. My bag got lost, and it came like 2 days later. He goes, "What are we gonna do?" He didn't tell me he had 2 bats that were missing from the bag. Yeah, we got 2 TPX bats coming in.
100%.
So wait, finish the story. I want to hear the rest of this. The bullet holes, and then what?
Oh, somebody got kidnapped in the trunk, but I said there was
What?
You glazed over the kidnapping.
So my car was fast. I had a WRX STI, which was like a really fast Subaru, all-wheel drive, stick shift, really low to the ground, boxer engine. It's great.
Low to the ground was not how it was built, but it was how he
only on one
ate
side
it to the ground.
Yeah.
You guys are
Beat me to the
That was
punch.
too easy. Honestly, that was way too easy. Come on.
You guys forget I was like skinny at this time, but whatever. I'll let you have your little bits.
This is a real weird.
Something's wrong with the
car.
left side.
Yeah, it was low to the ground on the
I
driver's
think
side.
the
yeah.
alignment's off, and the guy's like, yeah, that's what it is.
Wait a minute. A guy was kidnapped.
So my car would get stolen. The 3 times it got stolen, it was stolen to steal other cars. You steal a fast car to go like scope out other cars and steal other cars. So they stole my car, and I guess they saw someone they didn't like. They threw him in the trunk, and he shot his way out of the trunk, which you did not need to do because there's a little glow-in-the-dark tab in the trunk for when kids get kidnapped. So I think he was shooting at them through the trunk.
Probably.
So the cop is a 400-pound guy. He rings my doorbell. To get to my front door, I live on the top of a hill, like it's a hill going down. To get to my front door, it's 32 steps.
You live in a haunted house?
No. Yeah, it's
no sidewalk. Mule to get up.
I'm Juan Valdez. I'm Juan Valdez on the way up.
Make me a coffee.
Oh, here, hang on, the mule.
Mom, I need an ashtray.
The mule.
So this fat pig.
No, all the houses on this side of the block, on the top side of the block, are all have 32 steps to get to my front door. 4 in the morning, my doorbell rings. It is a 450-pound police officer from the Nork PD, and he goes, he is full. I mean, the kind of sweat where he has a ring around his shirt through a bulletproof vest, and he goes, your car got stolen. I go, are you okay? He goes, I chased him down. I go, what happened? I was like, buddy, sit down. You need to tell me the story. He's like, I chased them, but then they got away. I go, how? He goes, they went up the hill. Motherfuckers turned left, and he was like, I'm done with the foot chase. They found the guys a couple blocks later. Then I get a phone call from a buddy who this is wild. You're not going to believe this, but my buddy, one of my good friends who used to be a police officer, he ended up becoming a police officer after high school. He's now arrested for child molestation, but so he's in jail.
Don't say his name. Don't say his name.
I can't. Anyway, so
Chris D'Elia.
Not an edit. That stays.
That stays. Sorry, if you were a New York comic, maybe we'd edit it out. So he calls me and he goes, hey man, I used to leave my paperwork in the glove compartment, and he would get it for me so I could get my car back. He goes, hey man, they're gonna keep it for 2 more weeks. And I go, why? He goes, they're dusting it for prints. I was like, well, they caught the guys. He goes, no, there was another guy involved. I can't really talk too much about it. I was like, it's my car. And he goes, yeah, no, they just, there's something happened in the trunk. What? It's not like, hey, look, puppies. You know what I mean? Like something happened in the trunk is usually bad. I thought somebody got murdered.
Refurbished it? Put new carbon in it?
Well, how sweet. Look, a case of Sierra Mist.
The guy worked for Taylor Ham, and he filled you up.
Yeah, it's not like we're going to detail the car for you. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we'll take care of
Although
it.
my buddy did get carjacked, and they put tints and a new speaker system in it, and then he got the car back, which was so dope. He waited a week, and then that guy got this. He came to see me perform, and the SWAT team arrested him because apparently the Port Authority doesn't get the same report as New York and New Jersey PD, so they listed the car as having been returned to the driver, but the Port Authority police
didn't get the report.
Did not get that. And when he drove through Holland Tunnel, when he got out, my friend tells the story, he was in the passenger seat, and there was a van in front of him. It was a different story, by the way. The van in front of him, and he sees a bunch of unmarked cars pull up at the intersection, and all these guys with like like
Shotguns,
ammunition
yeah,
guns,
yeah.
like real guns pull out. And my friend goes, man, whoever that guy is in the van in front of us really fucked up. And then the cops walked past the van to him, and he was like, oh no, it's us. And then one guy in front of the windshield, he has a gun pointed at him, and he goes, put your hand on the dash. And the guy in the passenger window is going, get out of the car. And he's like, which one do I do? He was almost shit himself. And then the cops just like laughed and laughed and laughed when they realized that it was his car. But anyway, back to my car. I think he shot at the guys who threw him in the trunk. Once he got thrown in the trunk, I guess they didn't check him. So when I got to the 2 weeks later, I get to the thing, to the tow yard, and he's like, "Oh, it's the trunk guy." And I was like, "What the fuck happened to my car?" So it's like 3 or 4 of the cops, like all kind of giddy, walking with me to where my car is, and they go, "Look," and I'm like, "What? I don't see anything in the trunk." He's like, "No, look at the hood, the latch," and I see it. I'm like, "Oh my god, there's bullet holes." He goes, "But which way are they going?" And I was like, out. And he goes, yeah, crazy, right? And I was like, wait, someone shot their way out of my trunk? He's like, nuts. He's like, that guy's probably deaf right now. Like, they're all excited about it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He goes, all right. And I'm like, wait, well, who was it? They're like, oh, we don't know. We can't find him. Okay, cool. He goes, all right, so this is your car. You drive home. I'm like, I'm not driving Exhibit A home. I drove it straight to the dealership, and I was like, it was a lease. I'm like, yeah, I got to get out of this thing. And they're like, dude, there's bullet holes. I'm like, just take my security deposit,
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't care,
I'm
yeah.
like, please, whatever it cost me. I ended up having to pay like $3,000 to get out of it, but I didn't care. I just needed out of it.
Should have went on Pimp My Ride.
Apparently.
What about so you told them?
Exhibit A. Huh?
Exhibit?
Yeah.
I was a little late on that one.
So wait a minute. You told them that the ring was stolen though from that car.
No. I had financed half of.
Okay.
I paid. I
Okay.
think she knows this. If not, don't show her this. But I bought her like a $15,000 ring.
Her is D.
D, my wife.
This is
So-
the engagement ring or just something else?
The engagement ring. I was making a lot of money at the time, so I was like, I'm gonna ball out on the ring. And I knew my dad when I had one. He was a diamond setter in the Diamond District, so I had like a little bit through my cousins. I had a connection in the Diamond District. Got a really good. That ring ended up appraising for like $32,000. It was crazy. So I had half of it was 0% financing. It was one of those things where it was like 6 months, and then all of a sudden you get tacked all the interest. My car gets
If
stolen.
you don't finish the
if you don't
payment.
if you don't clear it out by 6 months,
You're
now
fucked.
you're paying the interest.
Yeah.
So my car gets stolen 5 months into this payment. I haven't made one payment yet. And
This sounds like an inside job.
imagine I get a gun and shoot the trunk.
I just picture you in the trunk going like, here we go.
A little bit of
Yeah,
a little Jewish thievery.
Oh Jesus, edit that out. I don't want my face.
17-minute mark.
If you're gonna do that, crop close. I don't want my face in that video.
No, it's in there. You're in there.
Shouts to my.
He's looking at the invoices like this.
2 more bullets. I got those like headphones from the gun range. What was I saying? So I called the insurance
5
company,
months.
and the lady was like, "Oh, was there anything in the trunk?" And I'm like, "I'm glad you asked." And let's just say that-
17 Amazon stocks.
I know. I was just
3 Bitcoins.
I was on Best Buy's website, and I taggled it by most expensive to least expensive. I was like, I have one of those. I have one of those in the car. I need that for work. She's like, you need a telescope. I'm like, I need a telescope.
My wife's into astrology. What do we do?
What are you doing?
She likes the moon and stuff. What do you want to say, you know?
I said everything was in that trunk.
I've never seen you this happy to talk about something. Pizza, Grand Theft Auto. That's what really gets. That's your
but
lane.
like getting over on like the insurance companies is
the
one of the
greatest.
best. It's
Here's
one of the best
Scopo,
feelings.
yeah.
I got the greatest.
Scamming.
I got
It's
the
so
greatest.
good.
I got the greatest story. Dee gets so mad when I tell this story because she thinks like I'm gonna go to jail. It's my favorite fucking story.
So for the sake of argument, this is all for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. No, this isn't real in any way, shape, or form. I kept when I moved to New York. I kept the Jersey plates. I bought Dee a BMW with Jersey plates on it, and I was like, "Yo, we're not."
That
gonna
was
why
also
did
in the trunk, the BMW.
Weird how much you can fit in that. And in the trunk of that BMW.
It's crazy. In the trunk, there was a 3-bedroom condo. What the hell are we doing?
Wow.
This guy's life's a babushka doll, for Christ's sake.
This trunk is showing like every time you open the trunk. So apparently there's a car that drives around Manhattan, snaps pictures of non-New York plates, and if they catch you over midnight, like after midnight in New York, 2 weekends in a row, they investigate to make sure you're not It's considered insurance fraud.
Oh, that's what the insurance companies do. Yeah.
It's to not switch your to switch your plate to New York because it's way more expensive.
Yeah.
So we kept the Jersey plates for a little while, maybe a little while longer than expected. They catch us, so I get a letter in the mail with, hey, this is the insurance fraud department of like New Jersey or something like that, and it says like again allegedly, and it says you've been we blah blah blah, like we have your information, and it says it's a business card for like the czar of this government run fund, whatever, and you have to give this guy a phone call. I call the guy and he goes, hey, I just want you to know. Before you say anything, we have all the information. So whatever you do, do not lie. It's only going to make this worse. We have Con Ed bill. We have an electric blah, blah, blah. We have a bunch of stuff. We know you moved from this address in New Jersey to this address in New York on this day. We have a copy of your lease. We have everything.
Jeez.
My insurance was so shit that D's name is on the lease and D's name is on the Con Ed here in New York. All my shit's in Jersey because we used to own a condo. I bought it and we sold it in a year to move back into the city. So all my name is on the Jersey shit, all D's names. So I'm doing all the math in my head. And the guy's like, we have this information. We know the address in New York where you're at. We have everything. And I take a pause and I go, what's the address? And he goes, sir, we know the information. I go, give me the fucking address. And he goes, sir, we have everything. I go, no, you don't understand. My wife left me for a doctor a couple of months ago. I go, I haven't seen her. And now I know she's in the fucking city. She has my car. I need to know where the fuck this address is because I'm going to go get her back. And he goes, sir, please don't do anything stupid. He goes,
sir, he's a doctor. Really?
He's like, look, we got a lot of information about you. Yeah. And I go, please give me the fucking address right now. Mind you, D is standing over me going, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like,
so to get out of insurance fraud, you just went regular fraud.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hammered. I put the foot on the gas.
Look, if I'm gonna go fraud, I'm going
spousal fraud.
I'm going wire fraud.
Buddy, I go, give me the fucking address. The guy goes, look. Promise me you won't do anything stupid. Because he said it was the Upper West Side. I go, where on the Upper West Side? Where? Tell me where right now. And he goes, I go, dude, I just want her back. I go, I'm living with my fucking mother. I'm driving a fucking minivan right now. I'm living in Newark. I don't want to be here. I just want my fucking wife back. And when I find that fucking prick, I knew it. I knew at the holiday party they were too touchy. I went all the way in. And the guy goes, look, stop. I need to finish up more on the investigation. I have to follow up on what you're saying. So just please promise me you're going to stop. I will call you in 2 days. I said, fine. Calls me back and he goes, there's something coming in the mail. It's paperwork that says your file is closed. I'm sorry you're going through this. He's like, but just relax. Wait till you get the paperwork in the mail. Everything will be fine. Okay? I said, fine. He sends it to my mother's house. My mother calls me. I told him my mother's address. My mother calls me, says, hey, you got a letter here from like a government? I was like, I'll be right there. I drove straight into Jersey.
From New York City, Upper West Side, where you live.
In the car that I was suspected to be driving in New York. I drive there. I open it up. It's my file. And he just wrote, your file's closed. Here's all the information. We have nothing on record. It's all yours. And then on the inside, there's a Post-it note that says, same thing happened to me. If love is real, she'll come back.
No.
Oh, it's kind of hilarious.
You stabbed the broken heart.
Oh my God.
It fucking worked.
That, he was gonna get pinched. No, take that.
Buddy, it worked. What are we talking about?
You're gonna get pinched. You gotta go.
The guy notices, I am a doctor. I think I'm fucking your wife.
Oh my God. Is she a 45-year-old black woman? How great is that?
That's crazy. And that's how you decided to become a comedian.
Yeah.
Well, improv shit down.
By the way, that was like a year before becoming a comic. I'm like, at least I got improv. Who needs UCB, huh?
That's crazy. I love that scamming. Like, I feel like anyone who's from anywhere, I think the Northeast is like scam central.
It's in the blood.
It's in the water. It's in the water.
It's fun to do. It's fun.
It makes the dough better.
That's why the pizza's good, because a little illegal activities.
It's something about being illegal. You know what it is too? I think it's like
slightly illegal.
It's slightly illegal. It's also like a lot of people in the Northeast are like they're normal everyday workers. They're not money, and to get over on like people with money, it makes you feel good.
The government bleeds needs you, the working man. So if you could fuck that back, Jesus.
Do you want to speak at the rally next month? Because I think you can.
I think you're talking about a rally on
The working man in the room of no working man.
You know what? The kid makes a good point.
If you could get over on somebody and it's a company or a business that's like a big company or a big municipal government,
Stealing taxes,
and you don't have to, and you're not breaking the law, fuck them. Talk your way out of all of it.
By the way, legally, I've talked to lawyers. Legally, I did nothing wrong.
No, nothing. I mean, you definitely broke the law.
No, I didn't.
You broke the law.
No, I didn't.
How did you not?
I didn't say I wasn't doing it. I never said I wasn't.
No.
Illegally parked.
But you were illegally parked. You were scamming the system to stay in New York with the Jersey tags. The act was illegal.
No.
You didn't do anything illegal to get out of it.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
I think it's more the whore of a wife, honestly.
In this scenario.
He's about to elbow
But the funniest part for me was
Don't
I was
even
like,
joke with him
I'm on the
about
phone.
it.
I'm like, shut up.
But this is because you were from Newark.
Yeah, being
This
from
is-
Nork gives you the tools to do these things.
You always have those tools, and then you always have that like someone's trying to fuck you thing. Always, always.
I think part of it, like, I realized I was weird when, like, I'm having a conversation with someone, my eyes are darting all over, like, who's about to walk by me and who's this? And
Yes.
people sometimes will think someone's like behind them, like, what are you looking at? And I'm like, I just look at. I'm always.
It's always
monitoring
aware of the
everything.
situation.
Yeah,
You're always aware of the situation.
I stopped D once. I said, we were at a restaurant, and I was like, close your eyes. She closed. I go, point at the exit. And she's like, I don't know where it is. I was like, what do you do?
Jason Bourne?
You know,
Jesus
always.
Christ.
I know how many people are between me and the exit at all times whenever I'm somewhere.
This guy's like, he's in the CIA agent. There's 4 exits. We have to get out of here, all right?
Yo, when the FBI recruited me in college, the
FBI recruited you?
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
He also knows. There's another thing that I've learned about you is that as soon as how many egg rolls hit the buffet, you're like 14 egg rolls. Let's go.
I hear ping. I'm like, oh, the crab legs are
General Tso's is hot.
Recruited or investigated?
No, recruited.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So a lady comes up to the class. Me and D went to college together, and some lady comes to the class, my marketing class, and goes like, "Hey, is whatever like William Smith here?" And he's like, "Here." And she goes, "Come with me." And then he goes like, "Is Alexis Guerreros here?" And you could tell this woman was a detective of some sort, a cop. I just sit there quietly. I don't say a word. And D goes, "Alexis," and she goes, "Alexis Guerreros." And the teacher's looking at me. The other students are looking at me. I'm looking straight ahead, pretending I don't hear nothing. I'm looking around like, yeah, where is that guy?
Where's that guy?
Where's that woman, Alexis? Where is she? And then the lady walks in and stares right at me. And she goes, Alexis Guerreros. And I go, oh, yes. And she goes, you need to come with me. I go, why? And she was like, you need to come with me. I need to speak to you. I go, you're not my professor. She is. I was like, and I want to talk to my lawyer. And like, I immediately went into like, and D was like, what is wrong with you?
The lady's like, you're perfect. You're hired, actually.
I like this guy.
D was really, she was like, who is this
I know.
Mesmerized.
You forget she has like that Jersey sitter, and she's like, this is so hot. Yeah.
He wants to see an attorney. Oh my
He
god.
thinks he has a lawyer. It's so hot. The delusion.
Did he just plead the fifth? Oh my Christ.
Did he just get caught up in a gun charge?
Plead the 5th and 4th period. My goodness.
Is he gonna get fat later in life? I hope so. Wear a wife beater around the house. I go with the lady because she knew who I was, and they seat me in a separate room, and she starts asking me questions about being a teenager in Newark. I got arrested in a stolen car. She asked me about that, and I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And she goes, you were with, and she started naming the names I was with, and I was like, oh, you have the file? Which I thought was sealed, you know? And she's like, yeah, we have the file. And I go, okay, I'm not answering any more questions. I was like, who are you? And she goes, I'm an FBI agent. And she goes, 2 people recommended you. So I had to come here and like interview you. She's like, but I got to be honest. She's like, very many people, sort of are this defensive or put up this much of a fight during this. She's like, I need to show you something. So she turns the file over. She spoke to like my neighbors. She spoke to my mom all before meeting me. Like they do, like they vet you a little bit. She spoke to everybody. She spoke to the guy who owned the bodega on the corner, like everyone who knew me. She spoke to friends. And I'm like, yo, nobody fucking told me the FBI fucking called. And she was like, well, I'm also with the ATF and the DEA. I'm like, well, the people you spoke to should not have spoken to you. And she was
How
like,
did you get anything from these people?
dude, she was like, we want you to
a
be
bodega corner guy in Newark is talking to the ATF.
Yeah. They're like, by the way, we know what you've been doing out of the bag. And he's like, I'll tell you everything about Alexis. Let me go free.
Why don't you lift up that cabinet? Why don't you let me write down Alexis' phone number?
Did you know he stole a car? So the fucking lady is like, yeah, we want you to join the, but you can't tell, like, if you die, we tell people you had a heart attack. Like, you can't tell people where you are.
She's also a fortune teller.
Yeah, I was gonna say a little on the nose there, right?
By the way, probably gonna happen.
This was 2060.
And she goes, and you have to agree to carry a gun everywhere you go. And I was like, you don't have a gun? And she goes, I do. I go, no, you don't. Because when you turned around, I checked to see if you had a bulge in your back. And you don't. You don't have it on your hip and you don't have it on your back. She fucking picked her leg up.
Leg
and
up,
slid
yeah,
her
that's right.
pants up. She had it on the inside of her ankle. I was like, oh, you got me.
We didn't learn that in the Newark. On the Newark corners.
God damn it. No one does ankle guns anymore. Like,
Texting all your friends, he goes, you know, guns can go in your legs.
ankles, kids, look it up.
Nork, no one talked about their feelings in Nork.
You're
Is
not
what
allowed. You're not allowed. I like how you want to get it back on track.
We have to. Yeah.
You're not allowed to like depression. Shit, like I think Gen
How
Z.
about if you steal a car? Then is it a safe space? I feel like if you rob your buddies, you steal a car with your buddy. You
No,
can you
that's
can't?
like a manly thing.
Yeah. I feel like that's
like
when
it's a
it can slide.
machismo thing.
Yeah.
A friend.
Ooh, jeez.
A friend of mine stabbed his dad. His dad was beating his mom, and he stabbed his dad, and it like really fucked him up, like really. And then
Did he die?
No, but he had to go to the hospital. It was real bad.
Okay.
He got him good. Let's just say, stop beating the mom.
He went for the kill spots.
Yeah. He knew what to do. He went in, and like there was blood all over him from his dad. Like there was a lot. And then the mom got mad at him. And I remember like he was like frozen in time for like 2 weeks, and none of us knew what to do. Like we didn't understand that like he might be going through trauma for having stabbed someone. Like none of us knew how to like understand what he was going through. So like my friends were like, yeah, man, he's just being a bitch, dude. Like, like that is the most emotion we couldn't categorize what was happening.
Yo, it's weird. Fred stabbed his dad and went gay. Fucking weirdo, bro. He's a gay kid
he
now.
must have wanted to suck his dick or something.
Jesus.
Like, we didn't know. Like, we couldn't put together
Yo, I'm
what
never
was
stabbing
happening.
my dad. I ain't going gay, bro. I ain't going gay.
It's 100% how like in the hood you're like not allowed to. Vulnerability is the thing you're not allowed to be. In fact, I remember like the manager I had at the time said, "I like your set, but you're not vulnerable enough." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yo, you don't talk about any real problems." I go, "Dude, I called my dad a piece of shit at like 10 times." He goes, "You never called yourself a piece of shit?" And I was like, it was like someone sucked my soul out of my body. He walked away and I was still in the same position for like an hour.
And then all your friends from Newark went by and me like, yo, Alexis is a bitch.
This was a comedy club manager?
No, like a comedy manager.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like
he
in
watched
what
he
you're
watched my
dating?
set.
What you're dating?
Yeah. No, I didn't know what
But
the
this
hell
was like
happening.
an older, like had been in the business for a long time, and he was like, "You never called yourself a piece of shit," and it locked me. Like I was like, "Whoa," and I'm like, "I'm not," you know. I'm fucking amazing, bro. But I remember like talking to other comics, like, "How are you? Like, what do you do? Like, how do you be vulnerable?" And I remember D was like, "You can't teach vulnerability. You just have to be like open about your problems." And I'm like, "I talk about my problems all the time." She's like, "All of your punchlines are food." And I was like, "Good point."
I love that you still have the Newark in you of that. You go, I ask so many people, how you be vulnerable?
Yeah.
Like, there's no answer.
No, I don't know.
This is gonna sound like a
I really still don't. No.
This is gonna sound like a joke, but I'm being serious. When The Sopranos happened and he went to therapy, did anybody get it? Like, was anybody like, it's my time?
Okay, so there was a
There
guy.
had to be one.
Wait,
fucking
people
guy.
in my family didn't even know it was time yet. We watched it every Sunday.
You'll know.
Yeah,
He's
but-
from Newark.
You'll know.
Yeah, he's from Jersey.
So there's a bunch of like mafia guys that would like collect. There was a guy named Dickie who like ran my neighborhood. He was still alive when The Sopranos was out. So I said to him, I go, "Yo, you watching The Sopranos?" He was season 2. It was like still
good
new,
now.
but like it was still big. And he was like, yeah. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not a big fan." I go, "Oh, because he goes to therapy." He goes, "Nah, he wore shorts." That was it. That was like the biggest thing. Was like, I can't believe it. He wears shorts.
He goes, what's
No
therapy?
boss wears shorts.
Yeah, no boss
okay?
wears shorts.
He
Like,
goes,
would
what
never
do you
that.
mean he went to therapy? He's It's like, well, he's sitting. Oh, I thought he was just talking to some lady.
Yeah. That's not his
therapy.
I'm waiting for this guy to bang it.
She keeps her tits in her shirt the whole show.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of, this is not how we do it. But that guy was a great dude,
but with The Sopranos, though, like, therapy is every mob boss is like, yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, he'd be dead within.
He's dead.
He'd be dead. She'd be dead. Anyone who knew would be dead.
Anyone who's ever
Well, that was the
associated
whole
with him,
show, though,
dead.
was that they were,
He's like
nobody
afraid.
could
He's hiding
know.
it. Yeah, he's hiding it.
But like even the thought of therapy is like.
It's weak.
People say but it's also like that's for white people. Like we don't have problems. We go to church if you have a problem. You talk to your barber. You talk to a bartender.
How's that been working out for everybody?
No, it doesn't work.
But that's real quick though. That's one thing.
Talk to your barber. Fix your sideburns.
Why
Talk
you
about your mother.
Why you crying, buddy? Get in there and get a shape up, will you?
Yo, you get a shave and a shape up though. You're fucking set.
That's what it's not even about the lines. It's they shape you up in the brain.
Why are you trimming inside my ears? Don't worry about it.
We gotta fix you up so you're not such a bitch.
But yeah, I want to.
Sorry.
I want to talk about how like if you said go to church or whatever. It does in like the poorer neighborhoods. Churches is so prevalent because everyone goes, just go there. That talk to God. That will answer your problems.
And by the way, it's such a fucked up loop because it's typically a storefront church, which is always a scam. And that priest who drives a Mercedes there and wears like a lot of diamonds, he tells you like, oh, you're not giving enough tithing, which is like 10% of your income to the church. Yeah, you have to give more, be more,
That's
around
every
more.
church.
But
That's
that is every
not
church.
just- yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's like this loop you get stuck in, and then it's like this thing of like, if you have problems, it's because you're not close enough to God. You're not. It's like
they seem that. They make
Yeah.
it seem that it's you have to be talk to God more.
Yeah.
He'll tell you what to do.
And that's helped nobody.
Dude,
so,
No, yeah. Well, that's why in the poorer parts of the
Right.
world,
Well, that's
God is so prevalent instead of like
tithing is cheaper than therapy.
100%.
Yeah.
Dude, I had a teacher like from like the hood in Patterson, and she was like, "Oh, I've been blessed by God." She's like, "I just got an Infinity, right?" And I was like, "Oh, good for you." She's like, "I gave 10% of my income to the church for 15 years, saying I hope I get a nice car." And she goes, "And I finally got it. I was able to afford one." And I was like, and I said, "What about if you used all the money you gave to the church over the last 15 years?" And she didn't know how to answer me, and she sent me to the principal's office. She just didn't, she glossed over. She was like, and I'm like, you gave...
You could have had
if you put that in a savings account, you know what I mean? You would have been able to afford that Infinity.
Yeah, she's now an atheist.
That lady sells crack now.
She's an atheist in a Hyundai.
She's still got the same Infinity.
No way. It's been robbed 8 times.
Yeah, it just is Infinity. This is Infinity on the back.
You walk by her car, you go, bullet holes coming out. Not good.
Buddy, that's the way to get out of it.
So you think obviously being, because I mean, you're a funny guy, so being a funny guy in that situation probably helped you. Living that,
Survived because of it.
yeah, because you're not like a murderer. You're
No,
not like
I'm also too slow to run. No gang wanted me. I joined one gang because I was good at graffiti, and that was it. That's why the only reason I got
art?
accepted.
For art? You got it for art?
For art?
For art.
Art.
Oh, for art.
Yeah.
I was like, this kid's having
Did
a
he
stroke.
just out like so Queens that Newark didn't understand?
Queens is a totally different language.
That was like two worlds colliding, and I think you were about to
I
pull
was
the
like, this
shit out of your back.
kid's overdoing it.
Honestly, I got offended. He didn't understand what I'm saying.
I didn't know what you said. I thought you said fart.
Yeah, I get it. Well, you two losers ain't gonna get it, but this guy should get
I
it.
thought you said you had to fart. Like fart? I was like, I don't know. This guy's got gas.
I'm like, let it go. I don't know
But
why
you
you
know
bring.
what? If a gang is accepting people for graffiti, that's sort of vulnerable. I mean, to an extent, because they're like,
No, it's for
this
tags,
is-
bro.
Marketing
this is-
department.
no, this is-
It's a marketing department.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the art scene.
Yeah.
The art scene in the gang. You can't say that, though. Because
What was your
it's
tag?
alright.
So I lost the first one in a
Sandwiches.
war, but it was Pharaoh. P-H-A-R-O-E.
What is that?
Your tag is like your symbol, what your name is.
what
Everyone
you
knows
tag.
who you are.
Oh, okay. But
So-
you do it for yourself individually, or is it for...
You do it
the
with your
gang?
friends. It's called bombing. You bomb with your friends. And somebody was like,
To be clear, you didn't say bond with your friends.
No,
You
no.
can't do that.
Not allowed to do that. Bombing. B-O-M-B. You go bombing.
Scopo, you do that?
I was gonna get to you. You
I was waiting. I'm like,
I was waiting.
I know. You said, I know. He
I
said,
put it
"Bye now."
out, and I'm like, I said bombing, guys. I'm letting you do
Someone
it.
mention it.
I thought you were gonna pin it on me, but I gotta be honest. I'm glad you went right past me to old fart over here. So I was with my friends, and someone was like, "Yo, you guys are good. You should join our crew." And I was like, "Yeah, of course. We'll do this graffiti together." And then we went to a battle where like two people, you do two pieces, and whichever one
he ran home and goes, "Ma, I made friends."
Yeah. That's me after walking home.
The hill.
32 steps. 32 steps.
I'm halfway up. I'm like, Ma, I'll tell you in about an hour.
I got fought.
Why don't you meet me halfway? Meet me halfway. So we went to the battle, and I say a joke about it, but it's true. Like, all my friends are like, yo, what'd you bring? I'm like, I brought, like, they're called fat caps. You put on top of a spray paint can to make, like, bigger lines. I'm like, I got fat caps. They're like, what about weapons? And I was like, what? And they're like, no, weapons. And I'm like, the crew name was MBK, which I thought we were told stood for nothing but Krylon. Krylon's like an expensive spray paint can. And they're like, yeah, it was MBK. I'm like, yeah, number Krylon. They're like, no, it's not, natural born killers. I was like, what'd you bring? And they're like, my friend's like, I brought a knife. I'm like, I brought fucking fat caps. I was like, I gotta go. The joke I say on stage is like, I brought nothing but Krylon, which is true, but I was like, I gotta get out. So like, they were talking about whether to jump me out, like to beat me up to get out of the gang. I'm like, I think that's unfair. I didn't know it was a gang. I'm trying to negotiate.
To be honest, guys, I thought this was more of like an art crew.
Yeah. I was like, I'm really here for the art. And I'm like, nah, like, don't jump me. And actually, it was one of my friends who was like, the reason you get jumped out is like to put fear in them to not join another gang, give your secret. And they're like, dude, he didn't even know he joined a gang. Like, he's not going to join a gang.
The secret's Krylon to him.
He blindly walked into this over here.
I'm just nervously eating a fucking hero. I'm like so nervous, but they didn't jump me out. Thank God they didn't jump me out. But I couldn't hang out with those kids anymore.
At all.
Probably for the best.
One of them, yeah, but then he went to jail. But he also was the one who taught me how to carry a blade in my mouth, which I used after that because I thought they were going to come after me.
You carried a blade in your mouth.
It's super easy.
Okay.
Is it?
Yeah, your gums are really soft. It doesn't cut you. If you open up your mouth, it falls right on your tongue. You're ready to go.
Falls onto your tongue.
You put it right here in between your teeth and your cheek. Mm-hmm. It's all soft. It doesn't cut you.
Is the blade facing down or up?
Blade faces down. The soft part faces up. When you open, because you're more likely to cut yourself if it's
So
up.
what happens if you accidentally start eating a sandwich?
You can eat. I drank soup with it, like the whole nine.
Soup?
The whole nine. There's like a piece of carrot stuck in the little middle holes.
You had to cut the hair. He goes, I got you.
Are we doing an unboxing, Teach?
You guys need any garlic chopped up? Whoa.
I went to school with it. Like, we didn't have metal detectors, nothing. I went to school. I thought I was gonna get jumped. I used to get jumped like on the train every once in a while, but that was like a thing they used to do in Nork called rolling out.
Like how bad they beat you though?
Like they would just start fighting everyone on the train.
But like
adults, children, old people, everyone got just, they would just start punching people. It wasn't like focus on one person, make them really fucked up. It was just like punch everyone on the train.
Okay.
That was like a very popular thing in Newark. I think
popular might be the wrong word. I think the more common thing.
No,
They're diverse in their shit ass kickings, yeah.
Yeah, there's the outside, they call them the light rail, like a trolley. Newark had trolleys.
Yeah.
So there was one that had like old Ford handles to open the windows. I remember the old one. And that was where you would get jumped. And there was a bunch of seats facing forward. It was like a bus, a bunch of seats facing forward, and then a bunch of benches on the wall. You wanted to sit at the seat with nothing in front of you because then you had access out. Dude, I'm in San Francisco, and the F line of trolleys is old cars from other cities.
Yeah.
And I said to my wife, I'm like, yo, this fucking car is reminding me in Nork. I'm like, we used to sit here because you could run out and like you wouldn't get jumped, and the side doors where the kids would come in, but they'd also come in from the front, but you were less likely to get beat up from the front because you could make more people would be running out that way. The side door, they're just bombarding in because it's two doors. And I'm explaining like all this, and a cop on the train pats me on the shoulder. He points up and it says, this car was used from like 1965 to 2008 in Newark, New Jersey. I was like, I might have been beat up on this train. This car. It was so dope. And my wife's like, you lived a fucked up life.
Wait, hold on. Is this Pharaoh underneath here? That's ridiculous.
That's me.
The cop goes again.
What was in the trunk, kid?
Explain to me the three. You said earlier that your car got stolen 3 times.
Yes.
So twice it was returned to you?
So they would steal it to steal other cars, so they would abandon it, and I'd get it back.
It's so funny.
So the third time, every time it got abandoned, but the third time, like something happened in it, and I was like, I'm done. I can't keep doing this. In fact, that time I took the battery out because my uncle came from Puerto Rico. He blocked the driveway, so I couldn't get in the driveway. We had like a big gate. Stopped anyone from stealing the car. The times my car got stolen was every time I didn't park in there. So I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll take the battery out of the car. You can't steal the car if there's no battery in it. they put an auxiliary battery.
Their own battery.
Yeah, they brought
they
a
came
battery.
with their own Mac box full of stuff.
The reason it couldn't go up the hill, the reason they got caught, and when it went up the hill, it died because they put I didn't know this. There's a smaller, it looks like a car battery, but it's smaller for like big speaker systems. I didn't know that. That's what they used. They took it out of their speaker system and put it in there, and it started, but they couldn't they didn't have enough power after going up the hill.
To get up top.
Did you ever get your rim stolen?
No, thank God,
That
because I
the-
had the lock, the master lock.
Oh, okay. My parents had that 2-3 times. They had the rim stolen. And they put put the car in cinder blocks, and they just steal the rims and the tires. And then you go out in the morning, and your car just starts
They're like,
sitting
well,
in
that
wheels.
backfired. Now I have no tires. Well, that didn't help anything.
No. Not my parents. They put the car. They took cinder blocks and they put the car and they lifted the car up, and then that's how they stole the rims and the tires.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There was,
Oh,
my
yeah,
parents
Do you
didn't
think
put
his parents stole people's
No.
tires?
I thought they stole everything once they. Your parents tried to stop them from stealing the rims, and they stole everything.
No.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
You wake up and your car's sitting on 4 cinder blocks, and there's no rims on it.
Yeah, you're like, well, I guess I'm gonna go to school today.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a snow day in Queens.
Couple times it happened. Like, oh, no school today. My dad's like, oh, we have my truck, and I'm like, oh.
He goes back up to his bedroom. He's got grease on his fingers. Got to go to bed. What's that tire? What's that brake dust on your hands for?
How has it changed?
Also, there's a Mets card on one of the cinder blocks.
How has Nork changed? Now from when you grew up, it's softer, obviously.
No,
There's no
areas.
Royal Rumbles on the bus.
Oh,
There's no one.
still are.
There's still
Also, a lot more guns.
Check
Yeah.
TikTok. It's probably
But-
a lot of TikTok Royal Rumbles on there.
I
That
do
makes
think
sense.
social media has changed Newark a little bit because when I was growing up, I had this conversation with Chris Gethard. He grew up in West Orange, which is just outside of Newark, and he was
We
like,
were there, weren't we? Didn't we go last week?
Yes, we were there.
Yeah.
"What'd you go to West Orange for?"
There was a show.
Meth.
Oh yeah, Wotown.
It was nice. Oh no,
Shouts
we
to
went to
Wotown.
South Orange.
South
South
Orange
Orange
is
was
nice.
nice, very nice.
Yes.
It was weird because me and Scopo.
Star Tavern.
I was telling Scopo, I was like, we were in what appeared to be the hood, and then 5 minutes later,
Well, you're in the oranges, so East Orange is like Kabul. It's horrible.
We didn't go to East Orange. It wasn't that bad.
You know,
No.
you know when you're in East Orange. 'cause
no, it
you're
wasn't. It wasn't
it's
East
like
Orange,
The
but it wasn't.
Walking Dead.
It wasn't great. But then the next place over, which was like a winding road, and we were in a beautiful area.
Yeah, Seton Hall is right there, which is
Really?
nice college.
Fuck me last week.
But hey, shouts to St. Peter's, my alma mater in the Sweet 16.
Where's St.
get it,
Peter's?
Peacocks?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
Fuck
nice.
yeah, yo,
Yeah,
they're cooking.
We made shirts that said "Here come the Cocks," and they were not happy about it. They're Jesuit priests. They drink a lot. But yeah, East
Jesuits,
Orange.
right.
is
Also, because you
horrific.
stole their shirt idea. They're Jesuit priests.
They're like, no, they were mad because they're like, we hope so.
Yeah, the Cox.
Nice.
I liked it.
How young, they said. Whatchamacallit, East Orange is really bad. South Orange is nice. Orange is in the middle. So, when you're driving down that one main road, you're going through all three.
Okay. Well, we got to one which was again not the greatest, and then it got
Yeah.
really.
Oh, so he's from
nice.
that town is just on the outskirts of Newark. And he said growing up, even though his family's from Newark originally, like Tony Soprano was, they were all told to be afraid to go in Newark. So Newark always felt secluded. Like a lot of the people that we hung out with were people from that were hiding out, gun charges from New York and stuff. A lot of people Michael K. Williams, Omar from The Wire.
Yeah.
He lived in Newark for a while. And the reason he lived in Newark is because when he got in trouble in New York, his family sent him to Newark to hide from the police. So
Wow.
a lot of people I would meet that weren't from Newark, they were all everyone had done something illegal. You were kind of isolated in this little bubble. No one ever came in. In fact, the biggest corporation there is Prudential. The headquarters is in Newark.
Prudential Center, right? Isn't that what the
Well,
the
now
Devils
they
play?
named the Devils Arena after it as well. It's only company. Them and Audible has a big office there. But if you take the train to Newark Penn Station, there's a walkway over the ground about maybe 15, 16 stories up that you could literally go to one of the three major corporate buildings in downtown Newark and then go back to the train without ever touching ground in Newark. And they built it because Newark was so dangerous that the companies couldn't get anybody to go work there. So they built this skyway so that, and it's like a mall in there. So basically white people could go to work and then go home without getting robbed. It was crazy. It's one of those towns where I didn't, unless I ventured out. And that's why I always said I got accepted to Tisch for filmmaking, but my mother was like, and do what? You're going to go to school for 4 years and stay in Newark? She's like, why don't you go to school for business and then you could own the movie studio or blah, blah, blah. And when I said I wanted to be a comedian, she's like, own the comedy club. Get out. Just get out of Newark. And it was, at the time I hated her for it, but it was great advice. It was I needed to do what I needed to do to get out of Newark and then I could start living. That's probably one of the reasons why I don't care if I ever have kids. I'm like, dude, it took me 22 years to get out of that city and then start living my life. I'm not fucking that up with a baby right now. Like, I'm not doing those things. I'm not adding stuff. That's why it's like when it comes to me and D, like we live like we're teenagers. We're like having fun. We have a blast. We travel. We do whatever. Because it's like it took forever to get out of that fucking hellhole, which at the time you don't realize
Buddy,
is a hellhole.
you were 62 years old when you were 11. You're going backwards.
Yeah,
like you're
100%.
going.
You're
like Benjamin Button.
Yeah, you are.
I work 7 days a week, 7th grade, 8th grade, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year of high school.
Do you think a lot of that was because you were just like, it's pretty scary living, like it's not
just that. I mean, look,
you're making a little money, but you don't have to deal
the
with
money was the most important thing because there was no one I could ask for it. My family had none. There was nowhere else to go. If I wanted to like someone to like me, like a girl or whatever, I'd have to dress nice. If I wanted to go hang out, there was a friend of mine that moved to Nutley, which is like a really nice town. It's where the Meadow character, the guy who like the characters,
Nutley,
it's all mafia kids. The Meadow character is from Nutley. It's like a Martha Stewart's from there. It's a beautiful, but it's literally on the outside of Newark. I remember walking down a street with a bunch of my friends and the kid who's just moved there, and people started closing their garage doors as we were getting closer to their homes, like one by one. And all my friends were laughing, and in my head, I'm like, they don't even want us walking in their towns. And it's because we're all dressed like you don't realize that you're dressed how people think is cool in your neighborhood, but we look like
you're
thugs
like a threat
to them.
to other people. Yeah.
Even though in our heads we're wearing ski clothing, we're wearing Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah.
It's expensive. Helly
And
Hansen
to their
coats.
credit, the people in the neighborhood, not to belay the point, but you were there to rob them. So it makes sense.
We're like, when are one of these doors gonna open? But like we're
They're
walking
catching on to us. They're smart,
So
these guys.
You guys obviously never talked about that growing up. Like when you were kids, you weren't like, that really sucks. That
You
they
know
think
when we
we're-
started talking about that is after a few of us made money. Because I say this, like if you grew up in the hood, there's water coming into your basement and you don't know why. And when you look, the biggest hole you see with water coming out of it says money on it. And then you plug that hole. And then you realize there's 1,000 smaller holes that have water coming in. And you just never thought. And it's all those vulnerable things like, the trauma we all went through as children for growing up without dads. And I had a friend whose mom at 13 years old, and we thought this was the coolest thing. At 13 years old, met a dude who had a big house in Puerto Rico. So she moved to Puerto Rico without him. And she would send $150 in an envelope every week to a 13-year-old boy and left the keys to her Acura. And he drove himself to school at 13 with no license. He bought groceries. He taught himself to cook. He slept with a woman who was like 25 years old who had just gotten out of jail. And she was like, I'll help you. And it was just, we're like, he's so cool. He's fingering a 20-year-old. It's bananas. It's bananas that we were allowed to live like this.
And that guy is Senator Cory Booker.
No, he ain't from Nork. Fuck that guy.
That sounds like the hood version of Home Alone. Lost in Nork. He wrote it.
It's just way cooler. He's banging a 25-year-old. This is awesome.
They break into the house. They start a gang.
It's no. That's how you get into my home. You break in. That's the front door key.
You're rooting for the bad dudes. Yeah.
This is literally my house. I actually have to protect it.
And I know those people trying to kill me. It's just like, by the way, that guy's great. Has like a great life now. He has kids. He has a wife.
So you still keep in touch with some of your buddies,
yeah.
and you guys talk about it a little bit now. Just like
like we used to think
must
we had
be
like
sort of fucking sad, like for people to look down on you, like not knowing at the time, but now, like people would look down on you because you weren't as privileged as them.
Yeah,
right?
but
you didn't think about it.
We looked down on them because like people were so easily scammed. Like, no one's ever really gotten the wool over my eyes for the most part. Like, maybe the way I grew up is fucked up, and look to, I come from like a good family, right? Like, obviously I grew up without a dad, but the rest of my family was in that house. Like, they tried their best, but maybe the way we grew up is fucked up, but like we all kind of took care of each other. Like my friend whose mom died of cancer, he ended up living with like a bunch of different, like he would move from house to house like for a couple of months until like his uncle could get on his feet and take care of him. Like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, it's fucked up, but like we thought the way other people grew up is fucked up. Like people had no idea they were getting scammed. People had no idea that like things they were doing was like, like you're getting like you're getting like taken for, and they didn't know, but we knew because we knew the scammers.
I think the way I grew up in my area, which is different from your area for sure, but it was similar to like actions more than talking. Like when you talk about stuff, it was like buddy, take it easy right now.
Like, you mean like flexing?
No, not like in terms of help. In terms of help.
Gotcha.
Like, I'm not like we don't have to talk about this. I'll just help you, and this is how I care about you.
Don't burden me with knowing what your problem is. Just let me know what I got to do to help you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's how more is by us too.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I might be that way because I still don't know what to do when like Donna cries. I'm like,
Yo, people crying freak me out.
bro, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, what am I gonna be like? Oh,
Just keep
what do
hitting
you
on the
mean?
head. Stop.
Stop. I'm like, I'm trying it. I got a sham wow. I'm like, just make the waterworks stop and then we could talk. Like the few times where she's like been mad at me. Shit, we're like the kind of thing where like I'm disappointed in you, like that thing.
That's
what am I supposed to do? I'm like, you tell me. I'm like, I gotta eat ass right now. I'll
made
do
you.
whatever it fucking takes to make this
What
go
a
away.
punishment.
I know. Is that why you're wearing a bib, Alexis? I got a bottle of Tabasco. I'm like, just let me know when. But like,
Jesus, that got specific.
To this day, I don't know how to handle. And Dee even like jokes around. She's like, people are sharing emotions, Alexis. It's not your thing. It really isn't. Like, I'm like a robot that water got dripped on. Like, I just shut off. I don't know how to handle it. My friend, we used to hang out in this abandoned building next to the PBA, and we would drink, like, that's where we would like drink. And like my friends who smoked, I never really did drugs, but like my friends who smoked, they would all smoke there. And it was like rubbles and shit. And every once in a while, like a crackhead would wake up. One day my friend gets up and he was like, yo, I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette outside. I don't want to be inside no more. And then he disappeared for like 3 weeks. And we tried to find him. We did everything we could. We thought like something happened to him. We used to go to like the places he hung out. It was like, we're like, whatever those like books that like where the kids are detectives. It was like that. And then 3 weeks later, he just like appears again at one of the parties. We're like, where the fuck have you been? And the only difference was he had a pink Power Ranger tattoo on his arm. And it was like clearly a jail tattoo. And we're like, what happened? He goes, I don't know. I just thought maybe I'd go find my dad. And we're like, and he's like, I didn't find him. I'm like, where were you for 3 weeks? And like, he wouldn't tell us. It was like all a big secret. And eventually we're like, dude, we sat him down. We're like, this is like the most vulnerable we've all been. We're like, we're here to help. Whatever it is, we're not leaving this room until we figure it out. You showed up with a fucking jail tattoo. You've been gone for 3 weeks. Your hair is cut. Like, you lived for 3 weeks. Where were you? And like, he admitted like he was so distraught about something happened while he was smoking weed that he came to the realization that growing up without a dad, like he's missing out. Wow. So he said, I'm going to go find him. And it was like, did you find him? He's like, no. He went to the bar he used to hang out at. And he goes, what happened at the bar? He goes, well, they started serving me alcohol. He's a kid. He goes, and then what happened? He's like, I don't know, man. I smoked crack for 3 weeks. He smoked crack for 3. Kicked it right away. But he smoked crack. And then he
That's
just like
fucked up.
came back. And we're like, and that's like me and my friends to this day, like when we talk about it, like, yo, remember when fucking Nelson smoked crack for 3 weeks? And we're like, yo, crazy, right?
How's Nelson today?
I don't know.
He tweaks.
He's looking for his dad.
Hell of a twitch. We're like crazy. And then we'll all just sit there like those of us who are like adults now and like live lives. And we're like, God, we fucking grew up weird, huh? Like, this shit's not normal. Now that we have money, like we've come to realizations. And for me, a lot of it was Donna helping me, just like realize, because her father grew up similar to the way I did. He grew up like a hustler. Like we were joking, and he was like, "Oh yeah," him and his cousin were like, "Remember when we stole the light bulb truck and we spray painted the side so no one knew it was light bulbs? But then we had no one to sell light bulbs to because they were all his customers." And, like, they were joking, and I was like, "Yo, I did that," and like we're sharing like war stories, and I think that's when Dee realized like, oh, he grew up like, so he's gonna have the same.
Oh, I married my father.
No, not that. Thank God, I'm a good person. But she was like, I have to now nip this in the bud, and she actually was like super helpful, even with my friends. Like my friends would call her and be like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but you know, every time I watch The Lion King, I want to fight somebody, and they're like, okay, let's unpack this a little bit. My wife's like, all right, everyone, we're going to make popcorn. We're going to figure this out.
Let's see if I grab a note card.
D is like a gem when it comes to that.
That's hilarious. I just wanted the time check.
Yeah, I think he did it before.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
1 hour.
Cool. I didn't see it. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, but
Well-
like, you know, we made it. We're all right.
No,
But
you did. Yeah,
I
mean,
do
I'm-
want to share
You're
more.
in a room with 3 other guys doing a podcast. They're doing great.
I do want to be more vulnerable, but I'm not kidding when I tell you I do not know how.
But it's tough. Like even my mom and her generation where she grew up, she can't be vulnerable now. Like I think a couple weeks ago, I was like trying to talk to her about being depressed, and she goes, "Oh, just don't be." And I'm like, it doesn't really work that way, you know? And
Alexis is like, yeah, that's how I do it.
it's just like there's no like she doesn't know how to talk to me about it. She doesn't know how to like get underneath and be like, why are you depressed? What's going on? She goes, you know, just when you're feeling bad, just smile and think about all the good things you got going on.
Thanks, Sesame Street.
And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. She goes, okay, well, don't be depressed and take Steven for a walk.
But it makes me like itchy to think of someone like telling me their problems. I'm like, I don't know how to stop it. You know what I mean? So don't tell me, I guess. But I do also want to, like, there's a friend of ours, a comedian who like went through a really bad mental health episode, ended up getting like put in a
home or whatever,
mental
like
hospital for a little bit. I don't know if that's the proper term, so I hope I'm not disrespecting anyone when I say that. But he talked to me afterwards about it, and I was like, yeah, I feel really bad you didn't feel like you could come to me in that moment. And he kind of laughed and goes, dude, you're the last person. I was like, it like ruined me for like a couple weeks. I'm like, am I a bad friend?
No, you just he would have come to you and told you how bad the food was inside that.
That's what I wanted to know. Wait, what are we talking about? Do you think I want to know his problems? No. I said, what's the problem with the red sauce on the pizza? No, but honestly, like, I wish I was, I don't know if I'd be able to handle it. Like, I'll admit that. Like, I wish I was the kind of person that people could come to and maybe not get a problem solved, but like be the guy who listens. But I wouldn't know
to cry on.
You say that now. I think though, if you ever had a kid, you would be a mush to the kid, like an absolute mush with this kid.
You think so?
I 100% believe that you would see this kid and your heart would just fall in love with it. And
my nephew can get whatever he wants out of me.
Yeah. Now, how about something that looks half like you?
Yeah. Oh no, he looks almost exactly like.
Yeah.
Me.
So it's I think you
maybe
would
something that didn't touch my sister's pussy.
Hey, look, if the kid looks just like you, maybe you can start him on like a workout regimen. Let's get him on some blood pressure medication.
Yeah. By the way, Rich, coming from you.
Could we just we don't have to talk about your brother if you want. Your brother. How you met your brother?
Oh yeah. We can talk about that.
Okay, I just didn't know. Your half brother.
Two of them, yeah.
So you had did you knew you had a half brother?
I knew I had two. My father started another family in Florida when I was in my late teens. So we went to Florida and he like introduced us to his family that we didn't know about. Wow. But older kid, great kid, Fabian. He takes great pictures of like exotic cars in Florida for a job. Nico, who lives in Orlando.
That's the most Florida job ever.
100%.
I was gonna say, I think he might have another job.
No, he's a photographer, but he gets paid by like these exotic car rental places to like take like Instagram picture. It's dope. It's actually every time he's like, he loves like really gaudy Miami shit. So like he makes fun of me because like New Yorkers dressed like all black or whatever. Like, and he's like, yo, you guys, everything's so sad up there. And I'm like, you know those cars that are like chrome wrapped where you're like, who the fuck? He loves that. He thinks it's like coolest. I'm
His
like,
whole
dude, this
house
guy
is covered in mirrors.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, this looks like a fucking like a guy who owns a vape shop, you know? And he's like, what's wrong with that? You know? I don't know. Yeah, I love it, dude. I'll take pictures of a vape shop. And then the other one lives in Orlando and's like just got picked up on a baseball team for a college. Which was really cool.
Are they full brothers, those two?
Yeah, they're 100% brothers.
Yeah.
But one day they both follow me on Instagram, and I know them, but I don't know them. I haven't seen them in almost 20, maybe like 15 years. And one of them just sent me a message like, hey man, I just want you to know, I know we don't talk a lot, but if I'm ever in New York, would love to like meet up or whatever. And I was like, yeah, dude. Oh my God. Like, of course. I'm like, hey man, I just want to, and I was like, I'll be a little vulnerable. I was like, I want to apologize that I didn't have a relationship with you. I go, but you are connected to someone who I don't have a relationship with. And he was there for a long time. He ended up leaving them as well. But I was like, he was there for a long time. So like, it wasn't really easy for me to do that. And he put,
did you feel good or bad that he left them?
It's not me. Bad. Yeah. Hilarious. You want to hear the funniest story? My father, when he left the family, I was like 3 months old. When my mother caught him cheating. That's why. So she technically is the one who left. But he fought for custody of just my sister. Not even.
Shut the fuck.
Swear to God. Yeah.
He was like, unpeel the layers of why you can't speak about your feelings ever.
I mean, I didn't know this until later, but yeah, it was like, yeah, you keep the boy. I want the girl. And I was like, Papa. I'm like, we look alike a little bit. But yeah, he was like, but he wrote, like, he felt like he needed to say, like, he was like, dude, none of us hold it against you. We get it. He's like, my mother, who's like, I guess my stepmom, technically, whatever, always asked about us. Me and my sister were just cool. But he was like, I just want you to know, we also hate him. Like, he fucked over our family. He's a terrible person, blah, blah. And that kind of
Bonded you?
A little bit, but it made me sad. I'm like, you couldn't fucking make one of them, you know what I mean, work
Yeah.
one of these relationships. You couldn't be a good person once. He's changed his name. He like, no one knows exactly where he is. My sister has a little bit of a relationship with him, but like he'll send like gifts for my nephew without like a return address, so no one knows where he is. He's just like the worst fucking person. He's just a horrible person. And I feel so bad for those kids. They're like, at least you would have gotten a chance at a better life. Or at least the have that fill the gap in that relationship.
How
that we
old are
don't
these
have.
brothers?
They're like now 19 and like 22.
Well, if you
they're
follow
young,
us,
yeah.
subscribe to us on Patreon. We're going to call him on the next episode.
Yeah.
We have his number.
He asked my sister for my number, and I told him, I told her I was like, here's the phone number, and I gave her the phone number to like whatever, like the investigators for like not paying your child support. Yeah, child support.
Hilarious.
I was like, call that number.
Just whoever answers, just give me your name, social security number, and your
The last
address.
time I talked to him, he texted me, "How's your lovely wife?" I was like, "What?"
Who are you?
Out of the blue? Out of the just that's the
Out of
first
the blue.
test?
This was when he still had my phone number, and I still kind of had him saved in my phone.
Oh, okay.
He goes, "How's your lovely wife?" And I put, "She's great." I'm like really sus about this whole thing. I put, "She's great." He put, "Amazing. I just got a new job." And I go, "Great." I was like, I don't want to hear anything else. I'm done. I'm not opening the conversation up. I'm just great. Good for you. I'm not responding. And he put, "Don't you want to know what it is?" And I didn't respond. He goes, "I sell life insurance." Guess the next text.
How are you
want
set for life
insurance?
insurance?
Wow.
"Don't you want to take care of that lovely wife of yours if something were to happen?"
Oh my God.
He texts me straight out of a fucking sales book.
I want to puke.
I was like, this
That's
is a human.
disgusting.
I felt bad.
Yeah, but the Wolf of Wall Street loves that.
Oh, ABS, always be selling. ABC, always be closing. It's just like, this is the type of person he is. That's why when sometimes someone said to me recently, if I didn't love you, I'd hate you. And I'm like, I feel like that's a lot of my friends. Like, I feel like I'm not a burden or anything like that. But I feel like if you didn't have a connection with me, you'd be like, this guy sucks. But I'm like, I'm way better than the guy I came from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I'm progress. You may not see it. I'm an evolution.
His dad ruined lives. He just ruins pizza.
I ruin your meal. It's really, I mean, by the way, if I were to have a kid, he'd be a pretty okay guy.
Well,
What is your when you had your dad saved in your phone? What do you save him as? You don't save him as Dad.
Miguel.
Miguel.
Yeah.
Okay,
Not even a
yeah.
last name, just Miguel. That's not his name anymore.
no. He's
Miguel, middle finger emoji.
Yeah. It's just Miguel. And by the way, I had like, because I was in corporate America, so everyone on my phone is saved like first name, last name. I don't have like cute. Like in Dee's phone, I'm like a couple of emojis, my man, and then a bunch of emojis.
Of course.
My wife is Donna Guerreros
No.
on my phone. Yes.
Yeah,
What's wrong with
my
you?
girlfriend's Annie Guarino.
yeah.
Can we change that right now?
No.
No,
Why? I don't understand why you can't
No.
do this.
Everyone, because then when I go to G's, everyone's in the place. Like, no.
What am I?
You're Alex Pavone.
I don't like that.
Yeah, yeah. He's Michael Albanese. He's Christopher
You can't
Scopo.
even- you can't even-
Christopher?
Yeah.
That's weird.
You
Yeah.
can't even put
I-
Pavy?
No, not at all. Everyone is first because
Pappy baby?
No,
No, that's how I am too, though. You're Mike Albanese. You're Alex Pavone.
Stunted.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're two stunted assholes.
No, man. There's no.
My mom
why
is-
you gotta have fun in there also?
Yeah, my mom is mom. My mom is mom. My dad is dad. My
Not
brother's
me.
Joe.
Not
No,
me.
your
My mom
mom-
is Daisy Luzardo, which is her maiden
She has
name.
two named Daisies? Daisy Lazar.
No, it's just Daisy Luzardo. I was gonna say Guerreros, but it's Daisy.
My
Luzardo.
dad for a long time was Sal Albanese.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Your
and I
dad
changed
is
it.
dad in my phone. that's who I call. But everyone's
Yeah.
first and last name. So, but his was just Miguel. So I knew no last name. Fuck out of here. I'm not picking up.
Wow.
Thank God he didn't call though. He doesn't call a lot.
Well, you know what, buddy? We all love you, right? I think.
I think we're.
We think you're a great guy.
Thank you. That
great
means a lot. That's why I
people.
came here.
I don't think Luca probably likes you, but I mean, I'm not going to speak for him. Okay, good. I think we're good. I think we're done. We had a great time.
I feel like that we did get a little. We got some emotion out of you there towards the end. That was very interesting.
Yeah,
I've
I know.
known you for a while. We talk a lot. There was some stuff I haven't heard.
You and I have never spoken to each other without food in our mouths.
No, but I think the second we get like a sandwich, we're like, "How you doing?" I'm all right.
Yeah. Things are great. Stop talking.
Hey, real quick, the younger brother, the one that plays baseball, think he prospect for the Mets?
But he's got an arm on him.
All right, right, thanks so much for listening. That's a great way out of here. Don't forget, rate, review, subscribe.
Give us,
YouTube, Instagram at Dear Buddies Podcast, Dear Buddies Podcast on Patreon. And what plugs you got? The Cooligans, what's your...
Just go to youtube.com/soccercooligans if you enjoy the sport of soccer. If you call it football, we call it football on Tuesdays when we do the Prem show. Mondays, we do a U.S. soccer-based show. We travel. We're going to Mexico tomorrow, so whenever you see this, we just came back.
Who's winning Champions League?
Oh, great question.
That's it for the show, everybody. Thank you so much for listening.
I hope it's not Liverpool because they won already. I'll say that.
Thank you, everybody.
You know what?
Go
Arsenal,
follow us. Go
next
follow
year,
Alexis.
Arsenal will win it.
Arsenal's playing well.
They're playing well. They're going to finish in fourth. Fuck
Goodbye,
Tottenham.
everybody.
Fuck Tottenham.